There's a specific type of email that I've been sending to my audience for more than a decade and teaching to my clients for about 6 years now. That makes it really easy to send high quality emails that audiences love to receive and bring in sales. I'm going to share the whole thing with you, peel back the whole curtain right here, right now. Whoa, before we go any further, do you know what's amazing to me is that all of you who tune in to the Email Marketing Show every week, and yet only 25% of you are actually subscribed to the show. Everybody else is not subscribed to the show, which is crazy. So make sure if you haven't already, hit subscribe so that, first of all, I know that you like what I'm doing here. I'll keep producing amazing new content for you. It also means that every Email Marketing Wednesday, when I release a brand new episode of the show, that's going to pop up in your newsfeed and you're not going to miss any of this information about how to make more sales from that email list of yours. I've just finished making a brand new program called Email Marketing Sorted. In it, I really pulled back the curtain on exactly how I took one of my offers from making $27,000 to making over $500,000 using just 3 psychological techniques. And I reveal the whole thing. I teach you the whole process, all of the techniques, how to use them, how to apply them in this new program of mine called Email Marketing Sorted. And for tuning into the show, I want to give you complete access for free. Just go to emailmarketingsorted.com and you can get full access. So, what are these mysterious emails that I've been referring to? Well, whenever you sit down and write an email, you know, or you're thinking about even writing an email, I know that from speaking to many clients, one of the biggest things that we have is, what the hell do I write? Should I promote today, or should I be giving value and restoring goodwill? And it's a big problem. In fact, what happens here, and the number one reason people don't send emails, is they create a lot of mental fatigue around writing their emails. Now, one of the things that I would love everybody to do, but truthfully, I know is unrealistic, is I wish everybody would sit down every quarter or every even month and plan their email marketing promotions for the month. And we give people strategies for that. We give them frameworks to do that. We even have a monthly planning session inside of our community to do that. But I know the vast majority of people don't do that. That's not how most people work. They get busy. They find the structure too restrictive. So it really makes me wonder, how do we help you to write better emails, know exactly what to send, and still not need to actually sit down and do any planning at all? What if we just remove the need for any kind of planning? And that's what I'm going to share with you today. This strategy is a 3-phase strategy to write really simple emails that work really, really well, and they take minutes to write. I can knock out one of these emails in less than 20 minutes. I think when you do this to begin with, you'll do it in maybe 40 minutes. It's really, really simple. So let's peel back the curtain on what this is. Well, the first thing you need to know about this is the days of having to create beautiful, gorgeous, graphic-heavy emails are over. The kind of emails that are working really, really well right now are the emails that look like a friend flipped open their Gmail account and wrote some words and sent it over. And I think the reason that's happening is, first of all, it's easier to get those emails delivered. When you put an image or a video or something inside of an email, that's a bigger file size to get transferred. It looks very commercial. It gets put into the spam or maybe the promotions folder. So first of all, you're going to get more people actually seeing your emails if you just make them text only. And by text only, I mean white background, black text. Because if you do it that way, they're easy to read whether someone's got it on light mode or dark mode on their phone, whether they're reading it on their Gmail or their Hotmail or their Outlook or whatever the heck they happen to be reading the email on. It's really easy to be received and look nice, and it's not dependent on all these graphical things. Second thing is, I know because I've done it a lot, it takes a long time to find all the perfect graphics and modify them and make them look great to go into your emails. So we're going to cut out all of that time. We're going to just do text only. Let's be honest, when we do text only, well, that's what the highest paid and the best-selling novelists in the world, the fiction book writers, that's what they've been doing for decades, is writing words and engaging people's imaginations through their words. And it works. That's why we all read books, right? So we're going to strip out all the graphical elements. So that's all good and well, Kennedy, but what's actually going to be in these emails? The thing that we have to do in our emails and every piece of marketing we put out is we have to balance giving value and restoring goodwill with our audience and also making offers, letting people know what they can buy from us. Because if they don't know what they can buy from us, they don't know how we can solve their problem best, one, we're not going to make sales, and two, they're going to continue being stuck with their problems. And as a coach, we don't want that, right? We want them to come into our world, and we really want to help these people, and we want them to enroll in our programs. So how do we balance giving value and making offers? This is when people have a really hard time. It creates a lot of mental fatigue to every time you want to sit down and open up your email account and go, right, I'm going to send an email, have to decide, oh, am I going to do a value email and build goodwill, or am I going to make an offer? And you have to make lots of decisions about what's coming up and what have I already done, and suddenly you're into decision fatigue territory. I don't think any one of us needs more bloody decisions to make. I think we all already have too many decisions to make in our lives as coaches and as entrepreneurs. All we do is make decisions all day long. Let's not make this another decision to make. So what we're going to do instead is, yes, as well as removing the need for planning and strategy, we're going to also remove the decision. What we're going to do in every single email is both give value and make an offer in all of the emails. What that means is there is a reason for people to actually open your emails, because there's always something valuable in them, even if they're not ready to buy yet. And at the very moment that somebody is ready to buy, when it's time for them to pull the trigger and take the leap, you have an offer right in that email where they can jump in, because now is the time to buy, just for them, because they've decided, not because you've been pushing. So how do we actually balance both giving value and making offers in the same email? We're going to use a three-part system. This three-part system has made me many millions of dollars for myself and my clients that I've been sharing it with over the years, and it's really simple, really effective. First thing you need to know before we get into the three-part system is we're going to make the emails short. If your emails are super long, you've got a few problems. One, they take you ages to write and create. Two, they take your audience ages to read and they may not make it to the bottom of the email. And third, did you know that long emails will actually reduce your email open rate? Let me explain really quickly before we get into the formula. If you've got an email that's long and you send it to your audience and some of them read that email and they go, oh my God, every time I get an email from you, it's really, really long. In a few weeks' time, when they get an email from you and they're busy and they see just your name come into their email inbox and they know that all of your emails are really long, they're busy and they're going to be like, I don't think I've got time to read that person's emails just now because they're always quite involved. They're going to skip that email. That's like skipping a day at the gym. The chances of skipping the next email just rocketed up. And the chance of them skipping the email after that just went up as well. So having short, really consumable emails, easier and faster for you to write and easier and faster for them to read and consume, and will get you more opens pretty much every single time. So how do we, I'm asking quite a lot of these emails now, right? I want to give value, restore goodwill, I want to make an offer, and I want to keep it short. How do we do it? The first part of this formula is the story. We're going to tell a story. And by story, I don't mean like a big involved story. We're talking about sharing something that happened from your everyday life. It could be something that happened recently. It could be something that happened in the past. It could be something that you're looking forward to, but it must be personal. And the reason it's got to be personal is because we live in a super AI generated world, right? Basically everything is AI. I'm surprised that I'm not AI at this point. And I'm not, right? That's the reason I'm doing these videos, to be really real. That's why I'm just sat here in the lounge, not making it fancy, just got my camera on and I'm sharing this with you. Because in a world where everything is so hyper produced, everything is AI, we don't know what is real, people really are craving the person that's sitting behind the brand. And because we're people who help other people, coaches, consultants, experts, right? We want to cut through that. When people are like, I don't know whether this is real. I don't know if I should trust anybody. Levels of trust, as we all keep hearing about it, levels of trust are low. How do you cut through that? By telling stories about personal things that have happened to you, because that's something that AI can't do, because things don't happen to AI. Things happen to humans. I want you to connect on that human to human level with innocuous, really subtle, really normal stories about the general everyday to-day things that are going on in your life. Yes, every now and again you can sprinkle in the, oh, I shared a flight with Prince William and Kate once, or I was once speaking on a stage with Stephen Bartlett, or, these impressive, inspirational stories. Every now and again, you want to pepper those in to spice things up. But actually, the connection stories that we're going to share with our audience most of the time are really the stories about the day-to-day stuff. My cat puked on the stairs, or, my kids did this, or my girlfriend or my boyfriend or my partner, my husband, my wife did these things. Those things are the things that are relatable as another human being. We want people in your audience, your subscribers, to look at the words on that screen that they're reading on their phone or their desktop or their laptop, wherever they are in the world. We want them to really feel there is a person, a human being behind those words who's sitting somewhere with these thoughts, with these feelings, with a family that they're trying to support. And the best way of not just telling them that, but showing them that is through these relatable stories. So that's the first part we're going to do. We're going to tell a really short story of a regular, everyday incident that happened in your life. Might be something that happened yesterday or at some point in the past. It really doesn't matter. The second piece, and by the way, I'm going to give you an example of one of these emails in a second as well, so you can see it in practice. The second piece of this is to then turn that story into a lesson that really relates to your market, to your product, your services, and the things that you solve. So notice the story has nothing to do with what you do and how you help people. That is the connection part of the email. That's the part that's designed just to connect you with your audience and give value in the form of entertainment, in the form of rapport, that kind of stuff. The second part is the next piece of value. It's a second piece of value in the same email, which is what is the lesson from that story, almost like the moral of the story that your audience can take and find value from. That allows you to give a brand new way of getting that story, that lesson to connect in your audience's mind that they hadn't thought of before. And it's a second piece of value. So what's the lesson that they can apply from that story? And then the final element of this three-part formula is the offer or the call to action. What can they now do? What is the next step they can take if they want to learn how to take action on that lesson, to speed up getting results from that lesson, or to increase the chances of having success from that lesson? And it's usually going to be with either going and enrolling in your program, clicking and buying a thing, or applying for a call, or filling out an application form, or it might be a free call to action. It doesn't even have to be a paid call to action. I'll do this exact same thing when I'm sending a link to my latest YouTube video or podcast or somewhere that I might be appearing. It could be a free piece of content. It could be an article you've written. The call to action is just what can they do next, whether it is paid or free. Let's take an actual example. Let's take a look in over here. So this is an email that I would send out. The part in green is the story. So it says, everyone has a thing that they splurge on. Some people, it's beer. Some people smoke. Cars, art. Mine is aftershave. It's true. I like Creed. Got a collection of Creed, right? I recently bought the most expensive aftershave in my collection, Baccarat Rouge. It's my thing. Some people will say it's ridiculous, but you know what? I live for the ridiculous. I enjoy the ridiculous, and I want to work in a way that lets me be ridiculous. Fantastic. That's the story. It was about me going into a department store and buying some new fancy aftershave. Yet, and here's the lesson. While I was wandering around the John Lewis department store, spending hundreds of dollars on aftershave, my email engine is running and bringing in more and more sales. That's the lesson, right? To have the story about me liking these crazy expensive aftershaves, and then we've got the lesson, which is you can do that. You can have that freedom. You can have that choice to go and do what you want and splurge on the things that you want to splurge on and you want to enjoy in your life, whether it's stuff for your kids or your grandkids or for your family, or like I did, take my sister on holiday with her family, whatever that is, you get to splurge and do those things if you have this thing that I call my email engine in place. That's the lesson. You need to have something in place that allows you to do that. And then a simple call to action of here's how that works. They can click the link and they can go and find out. And I could be sending them a link to a YouTube video. I could be sending them to a sales page, sales video, register for a webinar, an automated webinar, a sales, anything that I want at that point. So you can see it. Story, lesson, offer. And what's beautiful is because there's always slightly interesting things happening in your life every single day, you can never run out of stories. So you've always got something fresh that you can send to your email list. You never run out of ideas of things and new ways of packaging and presenting your offer because you're using this. And because it's really simple, you don't have to think about, am I doing value or am I doing selling today? You're doing both, and there's no resistance because you're not thinking, I've got too much decisions, I've got decision fatigue. Now, if you want to see how to make $10,000 a month from less than 3,000 email subscribers, I've got you covered. Check out this video here. I think you'll like it. Catch you soon.